Bus.
He's a bus or a bougie? Bus.
So, just getting set up here. This is probably going to be video 2 that we're going to post. So, early on, obviously, getting used to the old camera situation. I'm going to set up today and get the just kind of the lay of the land with the bus, run through, write down some measurements and stuff that we have for what we need with the metal, what we're going to need in the rust department. I'm just going over it a little bit more with a fine-tooth comb just to see what kind of work is needed. Obviously, once we get into it, there could potentially be stuff that we uncover that may be there that we didn't actually realize it's there. So that is the nature of doing a reno, whether it's a house, boat or bus. If you're renovating, you start pulling stuff apart, there's always going to be something that shows up. So yeah, interesting times ahead. I'm going to set up the camera and move through it. I think this one's going to be the best friend right now. Brand new tarp. I'm just going to use it to get in underneath the bus. The grass is a little bit damp and wet, but I think we're also going to need it to put over the bus in places so the water doesn't get in. Luckily it's a pretty sunny day today, so yeah, the tarp's going to be our best friend today, I think. Getting in underneath the bus and dragging ourselves around underneath the bus to do a little bit of rust remediation underneath. Later on I'm going to get up to the top and check out what's up the top and start on the roof as well, so then we can seal the roof, seal any of the holes and stuff that may be on the roof, and then that way then the roof is pretty good and we can then stop any leaks and stuff coming in that way. So I think what I found here, this pipe here is leading into what looks like the previous owner's water tank. So previous owner's water tank. What I might do is I might get a drill and remove this pipe. The tank looks really like it's rusted out completely. So we might remove that, get that out of the way. Then we know that, okay, cool, our water tank, we're going to need to look at getting a new water tank, which is fine. Don't really want to be putting any fresh water into this thing. It looks like it's really quite old. We'll look at getting a PVC one or something like that, a little bit more robust. It allows the no metals to be coming into what we're drinking and using on the road. But the best thing that I'm noticing here is that a lot of the actual structural members of the bus are pretty intact and relatively rust free, which is a bonus when we don't have any stuff on the chassis. All looks like I may have to do with that side of things, subfloor wires and that, like, is essentially just replace some sand this all back and then replace the with some underbody paint. Emma's grabbing the underbody paint as we sit here and speak. She and Riv are out there getting the supplies as we embark on the build here. Yeah, love, happy days. And one other thing that I might do right now is actually remove this spare tyre, because the spare tyre is getting in the road of a bunch of stuff up here that I could essentially get access to. So what I'm going to try and do is just remove a lot of the stuff that is in the road right now, and then that gives us an access to the stuff that needs to be remediated. Anything that does need to be remediated, then we can then have a free run at it rather than trying to work around things. Makes life a lot easier and a lot quicker that way, rather than trying to poke my hands in up here and that. Well, that came out a lot easier than I had expected. So as you can see, I think this might have been the old grey water tank for the previous owners, but if you look underneath, I wasn't really keeping a lot in there. A few holes, a few rusted out bits. It looks like it was just bare metal, so that's probably why it rusted out initially. There wasn't galvanized, but you still got to put stuff over the top of it so it doesn't fully rust out. So yeah, one tank out. Now the next job I have is the removal, just getting out the spare tire from the underneath the bus. But the mechanism that holds the bus, the tire in place, you stick normally you'll stick a rod in there that's got a square end on it and crank it down. I don't have the square rod that cranks it down, so I've got to get a little bit MacGyverish and try and work out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and get it out and get it down, because that will really help clear some of the stuff that's underneath the bus. As I'm removing some of this stuff underneath here, it's presenting what I've got work to do in remediation work for the rust underneath. All in all, it looks still pretty good. No deep rust, some surface rust, but yeah, all in all, it's still looking pretty good under there. So I'm pretty stoked and hopeful with that. So just done a bit of a once around the bus, and what we've done is numbered these panels here all the way around the bus, so that way then when we come to replacing panels or we come to patching them up, we can just get 1 needs replacing, 2 needs replacing, 3 needs patching, 4 needs replacing, etc. So then that way then it's going to allow us a little bit more cohesiveness. If we just start ripping panels off and then replacing them, it's when we get to actually trying to work out where they need to be replaced, it's going to be a little bit harder. So number coding them, it makes it a lot easier to do. And so now also what I'm going to do is removing the back pipe section here, which attaches the bumper bar. It's a little bit rusted, or more than a little bit, so I'm going to get it replaced. It's just a piece of round pipe that's been bent around the corner and 2 housings and fixings on it there, so it was pretty easy to get replaced. So we'll get that replaced, get that fixed back on, cleaned up and painted, and yeah, so I'm just going to pull that off now.
Fun fact, this is the spot one of our tow truck drivers tried to lift the bus out with. You can see why he got a little scared and thought the whole chassis might have been rusted. Thankfully it was not.
So you can see just here, this bolt was really quite rusted in, and I tried a few different options, and eventually the the old hammer and screwdriver persuasion got us there in the end. I'll put this aside and measure it up so we can get it replaced. So you can see where essentially the old bottom of this panel would have been running through. A lot of the water probably sitting down on that old bumper bar and hitting here and rusted it out. So yeah, good to get it off, get a look at it. Toe ball, see, it looks all pretty solid and intact here, which is good. We're thinking about getting a tow hitch for Emma's car, and then we can hook the car up when we go to other places, and then that will mean then we can have park this up and maybe outside of town, and then use the car to go other places. Hey, welcome to the build day number 2. Today I'm changing tact. I've sat down and I've had to think about the build and what really needs to be done right now, and is actually to be looking at probably the roof. So I'm going to work towards getting the roof watertight, and that big old window just there. So as soon as we can get that the roof watertight and sprayed, repainted, and the window in, any of this other stuff that's going to happen on the inside is going to be protected, and it's also means that I can work down rather than working up. And essentially once I begin to work down, the starts to get a little easier, theoretically. It's a little overwhelming at the moment, if I'm completely honest. At the moment it's just myself here doing most of the work. Em's kind of limited with what she can do, especially with the river around. But you know, got to get it done, and it's just a matter of prioritizing where the work needs to be first up, and then that way then we can work somewhat cohesively. It's a huge learning curve. Also, I tried to kick over the diesel engine earlier this morning, just to see how I'm trying to kick it over each week, every day, or not every day, every week, just to keep it turning over, and it won't turn over. So looking for a diesel mechanic in the area, in the Mullumbimby area. So if anybody is watching and wants to be a part of the project and be someone I can kind of turn to, that would be pretty cool, because at the moment it's just not turning over, and I don't want to. Diesel engines can be a little bit finicky if you keep trying to turn it over. So it might be as easy as something as the battery and testing the battery, but for now I'm not going to try and troubleshoot that, because essentially my work needs to be done on the building rather than the mechanics just yet, because we can't really drive it anywhere anyway. So once I can work on getting that done, then we can move into the mechanical side of things, fingers crossed. So stay tuned. If you're new, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and so you can stay up to date with the build and what goes on the road, going down the road once we eventually get the bus on the road. So hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and stay in touch with us.
Thank you so much for joining us on our journey so far. Please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons below so you can join us on our journey. If you would like to contribute to the bus build, we have put the link to our donation page below. Thank you so much for your support. We are so excited to bring this vision to life. Oh, and here's another fun fact that we've learnt along the way. Cows like eating lemons.